What do you like to do? What do you do for fun? What makes you happy? They say, Robert, you're always talking about business and tips for success and investing and all that. So what do I like to do? And I'm going to ask you a question. Can we really talk? Because people rarely talk to each other. So what do I like to do? Listen, I love spending time with family. I love traveling. I've been in over 80 countries. I take 2 or 3 months vacation a year now. I practice martial arts. I do CrossFit. One of my favorite things to do is read books. I would love to read all day and study themes about behavior, people, history. I like to do all that stuff. I like learning new languages. I like trying new things. I like going on adventures. But what do I really love to do? And let me ask you, what do you really love to do? And I believe your life and my life can change in 1 minute in quantum seconds when we make decisions. So here's what happened to me about what I really love to do. About 6-7 years ago, I was retired. Yeah, I did a little investing, a little business, a little speaking, and my books were out, but I retired for the 3rd time. I retired the first time when I was about 30, 31 for a year. Then I went back to work. Then I retired about 8 years later again. And then I retired about 6-7 years ago. And one day, I helped a friend of mine, Lisa Delman, write a book called Letters from the Heart. Dear Mom always wanted you to know I was kind of the secret helper. We collected letters from mothers and daughters. Great lady. I love her and her husband. And she was friends with one of the greatest religious spiritual leaders in the world. Very famous guy. If I mention his name, everybody would know him. Well, anyway, here's how my life changed about what I really like to do. And you're going to learn something about me and maybe about yourself. Here we go. So one day I read in the Miami Herald that this religious spiritual leader was coming to Miami. Big deal. Was going to speak to people and there for about a week. And Lisa called me and said, hey, this great religious spiritual leader was going to stay in my house with his entourage, but our house being remodeled, it's running a little late, big surprise. And Robert, I know you do real estate. Could you help us find a place for him? I said, Lisa, of course, but you know, it's just me and my son here in this big penthouse down in South Beach. Why didn't he stay with us? She said, oh, no, you don't want to do that. He stayed with me before. It's crazy. The paparazzi's there. There's a big group. There's people coming and going. It's insane. I said, sounds great to me. I love that. Maybe I get a chance to meet him. She said, okay, if you really want to. So sure enough, he arrived. The news trucks were there at my gate. There's people. He came in. He was with a big group. He was doing speeches and healing sessions and helping sessions. And he was in my place for a week, and I never saw him. Anyway, the last night, if you're open, your life can change in seconds or minutes if you're open. Most people aren't. I was walking down the hallway about midnight in my condominium. I turned the corner, and wham! There's this great religious leader, spiritual leader I've always wanted to talk to more, right in my face. And he said, hey, Robert, how are you? I said, wow, I'm glad I get to meet you. What a great experience. He said, hey, listen, I want to thank you for the place. I met your son. Your son's very polite. I saw your books and your awards. Your place is amazing. You should be very proud. And he said, can we talk? I said, I'd love to talk to you. He said, can we talk? I said, I'd love to talk to you. And he asked me 20 times, can we talk? I'm like, yes, we can talk. And I said, why do you keep asking me that? He said, people rarely talk to each other. It's true, isn't it? People rarely talk to each other. So for a minute, I'm going to talk to you about what happened to me, about what I like to do, and what do you like to do. So anyway, he said, Robert, let me ask you a question. Your son is maybe 16 now. He's in 10th grade. I met him. Very nice. He goes, when someone asks your son, what does your dad like to do? What does your son say? Well, at that time I was retired, and my goal was to see as many beautiful beaches as I could. So I traveled with my girlfriend and my son to a lot of beaches. Went to Greece, Costa Rica, Europe, South America, the Caribbean. It was amazing. And then he asked me a question that changed my life. And I'll ask you, he said, when people ask your son, what does your dad do? What does your son say? I said, I don't know. My son will probably say, I'm retired. I travel around. And then he said, what would you want your son to say? What would you want people that care about you or yourself to say about what you really do? And for one of the first times in my life, I didn't have an answer. And I'm going to ask you the same question. What would you like the people around you, the people you care about, the love, or yourself to say about what you really do? I didn't have an answer. He goes, well, what do you get excited about? Because everything either makes you feel better or worse or the same. People you're around either make you feel better or worse or the same. You know it. So if you want to be happier and live a better life, be around people that make you feel better and do things that make you feel better. It's really simple, isn't it? But why don't we do it? So I said, I don't know. He said, what gets you really excited? I said, I don't like to help people. That feels good. He said, well, I have a friend who has a charity. They buy defibrillators for poor people. When they have a heart attack, it saves their life. Why don't you go back to work, not change anything, and start donating the money? And the next time someone asks your son, who at that time was about 16, what does your dad do? Your son, my son, is going to say, my dad and I save people's lives. And I went, whoa, wait a minute. My son's 16. He's not going to get into that. I said, give him a chance. So I told my son said, hey, I want to help, let's get involved. So I went back to work. I didn't change anything. He also said I'm going to make 3 times more money. So that's impossible. I'm a skeptical business person like many of you. I have to see to believe it. So that's impossible. Without changing anything to make more money, we made a bet. Sure enough, my income went up and up and up. We had a way to track it without changing anything. How can that be? When you're on purpose, when you're doing something you love, everything flows better. When you're doing something you don't love, things generally don't flow. Would you agree? So anyway, I went back to work, and now I take the money and donate different charities, most of it, and save people's lives. So when someone asks, oh, my son, what does your dad do? My son says, my dad and I save people's lives. I love it. It's exciting. It makes me feel good. Being of service makes me feel good. What makes you feel good? What do you want yourself or your loved ones to say about what you do? What really would you like to do? What do you do? What do you really like to do? I'd like to know.